dollar that he's just signed for. And if the defense can't get it right, if they can't create opportunities, get stops, get turnovers, if they can't put the ball in Dak's hands consistently, then the MVP won't be an option. It won't be a valuable option for Dak. But, in terms of Dak play, in terms of where Dak is headed, with Mike McCarthy, with the offense, I think everything is in sights in terms of his future and where he can go. So, I'm excited about Dak having this deal done. I think, it allows him to just kind of exhale and focus on the offseason and try to find his way now in terms of, what success is going to be for the 2021 season. So now that he has the pressure off of him, now he can look forward to just having a great offseason, focusing on getting better with the guys around him, getting better within the offense, and building that rapport with Mike McCarthy. So, I think this came at a great time. It wasn't a long, drawn-out process. It wasn't done in the spring. It wasn't done over the summer in training camp, and giving everybody, so much to talk about. This is the perfect time for this deal to get done, and I think it's the perfect timing for Dak. So we'll see what happens.
So two things. One is I actually disagree with Mike a bit. When it comes to the MVP discussion, I think the Cowboys' defense being bad could be good for Dak. I think being in a bunch of shootouts, having to throw late into games, that's how Mahomes won his MVP in 2018. Defense was way better in 2019. They won a Super Bowl. 2020, the defense was better, and Mahomes' numbers declined at the end of the year. It was in 2018 when the defense was terrible, and it was Mahomes had to go out and score 30 every day. That's how, or every week, that's how he won his MVP. So if we're not talking about the Cowboys' Super Bowl chances, just Dak's statistical chances, the bad defense could help him. But rather than spend more time on that, I want to ask Mike Vick a question. Because there's only like 15 living people who know what Dak Prescott feels like right now. And that new pressure that could be on him. Mike Vick's one of them. Once upon a time, Mike Vick, young Mike Vick, now you had different type pressures, #1 pick of the draft, Mike Vick experience, but then there was Mike Vick just became the highest paid player in the history of professional football. And that's dope. That's awesome. It's a great time to celebrate. But what does it feel like once that's kind of worn off a bit? Is there a new additional pressure on Dak now that he's never felt before because he just had a record-breaking contract? Did you feel a new additional pressure when that happened with you?
Absolutely. The thing with signing these type of deals, mega deals, where you break the bank and now Dak is a rich man, he'll be rich for the rest of his life, but it comes with a ton of pressure. I just looked at it. The only thing I could think about was more money, more problems. In all facets of life, not just on the field, but off the field. But in terms of being on the field, now everything is highly scrutinized. Now you're under the microscope times 10, and the pressure just continues to mount. And we the media, we won't let up. We want to see excellence. We want to see, you earn every bit of that contract. And, that's what's in front of Dak right now. But, he's a man that understands, what he's dealing with right now and the direction that he has to go in the trajectory. And he has to take that on full force. So I don't expect anything less. He's a fine young man, and I think he can do it. But the pressure will continue to mount. More money, more problems.
It seems simple, but this is a complex situation down in Dallas. We're talking about Dak being an MVP. We're talking about Super Bowl. We're talking about more pressure. Look, everything goes through that defense in Dallas, right? So we're talking about Dak as the MVP. He has to win games because numbers don't lie. And I don't want to get into the numbers yet, but his numbers, they're right where they need to be. Going back to the year before last, he was on pace for 4,900 yards through the air, 30 touchdowns, 11 interceptions. Come on, man. And the pace that he had last year. But if you don't win games, then you're not going to be the MVP. If they roll that defense out, they're not going to win many games. They may win 5-6 games with that defense. Now, I do believe they'll be better. I do believe they're going to add a few pieces in the draft and potentially in free agency where they can be a decent defense, but not a bottom of the barrel type defense. And then as far as, this whole Super Bowl more pressure thing, it's the same thing. Why would Dak have more pressure? Like, I get it. You're the face of the franchise. You're a quarterback. By the end of the day, we all know there's only like 2 or 3 people every year where like this kid, this guy, he has to win the Super Bowl. That is the expectation. But with Dak, we know, yeah, he can be great on offense, but if that defense take the field the way they did last year, he has no shot. I don't care if he goes out there and average 550 yards a game through the air and on the ground. He has no shot. So as far as Dak, and we can see the numbers as far as his 16-game pace, yeah, he can be the MVP. Let's look at it. If he played 16 games last year, he would have been in the conversation. Week 5, what happened? Logan Ryan takes him down. He snaps his ankle. Now he's done. But what he was doing before he went down was phenomenal. They were averaging 497 yards. So while I truly believe everything goes through that defense, yes, Dak can be an MVP. Yes, they can win, but that defense needs to be better.
I totally agree, but in a lot of those yards he had to put up when the Falcons are putting up 40 points on you and Baker's putting up, a ton of points. When Russ comes in and throws 5 touchdowns, you have no choice. The scary part for me, or what I think hurts Dak's chances, Mike, is like he can't afford to have a game like Tom Brady had in the playoffs against the Packers, where you throw 3 interceptions, but you know what? Doesn't lead to many points. And that kind of just gets in the wash, and you're viewed as the hero. No one's like, 3 interceptions cost you the game, just because your defense stepped up and took care of you. I don't think Dak has that luxury, so I think that really hurts his MVP chances.
Yeah, he don't, and Brandon just said it. I mean, you can't talk enough about the defense and what the defense is going to mean to this team. Yes, they have the offense. They have the pieces in place from the offensive line to the receiving corps, and now they got Dak locked up. It puts the whole piece of the puzzle in place on offense. But on defense, if you can't get stops, if you can't create opportunities, if you can't create short fields, then it's going to make his job super duper difficult, and everybody else, involved on the offense. So, they have to get better on the defensive side of the ball before they can move forward and before we can even look at this team as a serious contender in 2021.
I'm going to disagree with Michael Vick again. I actually think you can talk enough about the defense. I think we have talked way too much about the defense in this Dak MVP conversation, because here's the deal, folks. This is now the new standard for Dak. It might not be fair, and from Vick and Brandon's perspective, who understand everything that goes into winning football, it might seem unrealistic, but when you ink on the dotted line for $126 million guaranteed, for when it's called the greatest player, most player-friendly contract anyone's ever signed, when you have Amari Cooper and CeeDee Lamb and Michael Gallup and that offensive line back and Ezekiel Elliott behind you, guess what? When they lose, they're gonna blame you. And by they, I mean we. So I'm just saying, Brandon, like we can say, oh my God, their secondary stinks, which it does. Ain't nobody going to care if they start 3 and 4.
Nick,
Brandon, nobody. They're going to say, why isn't Dak doing more?
True competitors.
Go ahead, Brandon.
Man, when you sign that contract, what you're thinking is, I'm giving you a discount. I should have got more. That's what true competitors do. So when I signed my deal in Chicago, when I signed my deal with the Jets, I'm like, I'm giving y'all a discount. What you mean?
That's
I'm worth this.
It's a lot of pressure on that general manager over there in Dallas.
Ain't no pressure.
A lot of pressure on the general manager in Dallas. Let's just say that.
Nice. By the way, Dak would be the first Cowboys quarterback to win MVP. Should we play this out to its seemingly illogical conclusion? We shall see. All right, got to discuss how Tampa Bay is going to retool the roster around the Super Bowl MVP, Tom Brady. That's next. First things first.